why don't you feel more shame? You built this land on the back of the black man. Turn this track into a highway. Give more credit to the Afghan. You dig this white man's hole. Expose a black woman's soul. Those flashes of color, a symbol, you dispossess the black nations as a whole. You take this stone, you make it your own. Climb a holy mountain with no consideration what you're standing on. You're taking the view, can't see past the drunken debauch and abuse. With no consideration, it's a reflection of you. So why don't you feel no shame? Now why don't you feel no shame? Now why don't you feel no shame? Well, why don't you feel no shame? Blood on the wall and blood on the fleece. Don't worry about those dead niggas, we'll just burn them all later, just count the dead sheep. So you take that black man's wife, cause that's the way that you think. That a woman is just property, and his children are his link. So you set about to settle that, and you take her for arm, while your brothers crush her baby's head as she turns to run. Now you just leave them floating there as a sign your time has come. With God on your side and on your side a gun. You felt no shame in the message that you wanted to transmit, and for all your intentions of terror and fear just drove the black man to kill or to drink. So why don't you feel no shame? 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 Now all these years later, the ethnic cleansing's all but forgot. Though your children said sorry now, they don't really know for what. They weren't taught this in history, and they're bought into the capitalistic myth with its concepts of ownership. Bought here first on a tall white ship. There's so much shame now, just the same as it was then, as their blood cries for justice from the ground, as is in broken communities and town camps. Same now as it was then. So why don't you feel more shame? 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 Why don't you feel more shame?